officers and to thank them for the good work that they do. And I'd also like to thank Bob and Faye for bringing their Texas collection. Oh, it's Carnival, isn't it, that we're going to see tomorrow. Before I forget it, I would like to introduce a couple of people that are up front here. Frances Howard is Chuck's sister-in-law. You would wave. And Cindy Martin is his daughter. I wanted to make sure that you met these two people. I was watching the news today. Why are you so quiet? I was watching the news today and wanted to share a couple of things with you. Did you see that the alleged Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, was turned in by his own relatives? Geez, if he gets a Christmas card from Ted this year, he'd probably advise him not to open it. Montana is certainly getting a bad shake, aren't they? Because there are a few people out there. Is anybody here from Montana? Oh, good. Well, I don't want to say all these things. You know how bad it's got in Joe, Montana? Some of you in this area will remember who he is now insisting he never threw any long bombs. The Montana people are saying, at least, I'm sorry to people from England, but Montana people are saying, at least our cows are sane. Judging by the look of the Unabomber's cabin, there's no chance that he's ever going to be called the Unicarpenter. He's finding out that jail is really hell. They got running water, toilets, color TV. His favorite channel, though, is TNT. Some people have said that he's suffering from mad cow disease. I'm just reading him, I didn't write him. One of the things that I've noticed over the years about Carnival class people is that you heard me say that, we are an aging group. I heard an interesting couple of stories about aging. You know that Tom Mardini retired not too terribly long ago. And like most people that retired, he had a real problem at first. He got so bored that he would run downtown every day early and get a good parking spot and then wait for people to ask if he was leaving. So I'm going to tell you a true story about a guy from, well, I'm not going to tell you where he's from, but he was not from Texas. Okay, he was not from Texas. This guy was walking along one day and sees a little frog on the ground, and he's an older fellow, and wasn't real busy, and so he reached down and picked up this little frog, and was real surprised because the frog looked at him and said, well, thank you for picking me up. And if you will kiss me on the lips, I will become a beautiful woman and be your love slave forever. And he put the little frog in his pocket and walked on. A little while later, the frog jumped out and he said, apparently you didn't hear me. I said, if you will kiss me on the lips, I will become a beautiful woman and will become your love slave forever. This went on for about 20 minutes, and finally the frog jumped up on his shoulder and he said, look, I said, if you will kiss me on the lips, I will become a beautiful woman and I'll be your love slave forever. Got this frog back in his pocket and he said, hell, at my age, I'd rather have a talking frog. Well, apparently you understand that. One of the things I want to talk about very briefly today is the difference between participation and commitment. One of the things that we ask all of you to do is to participate and to really be committed to Carnival class. And I think for many of us, it's pretty obvious that we really believe that. But participation and commitment is a lot like ham and eggs. Chicken participates. Ham is the real commitment. But we're here today, seriously, finally, to celebrate again an award that was started 4 years ago. And it is an award about participation and real commitment. Our reason today for being here is twofold. One, to celebrate the past, it seems to me, and to celebrate the current, and maybe even to look at the future. The John and Lucille Britt Award for Excellence in Carnival was started 4 years ago. And this award was set up because the officers of Heart of America believed that these two individuals exemplified something that we wanted others to exemplify also. These two people have worked extremely hard in their research and publications. They have shared information day and night. Many of us have called and asked questions. They willingly have helped us out. They have had lots of energy. They have been teachers of Carnival. They have been finders of Carnival. And the bottom line is that they are great human beings. They're warm, kind, friendly, smart, willing, and really great people. And so at this time, would you honor one more time John and Lucille Britt by giving them a huge hand. And sometime when you're in their room, buying class, looking at the books, thank them for all of the good things that they have done in the past and will be doing for us in the future. And then secondly today, I want to ask you to honor one more time our first and second recipients of the award after we first honored John and Lucille, and that is Floyd and Cecil Whitley. And last year, Carl and Fern Schrader. Today, we're here to honor Chuck and Marge Kremer. And of course, it is a difficult time because Marge is not here. But it is an important time in our current day to honor Chuck and the memory of Marge. We have three people that will speak. Alan Pickup will speak first, Carl Booker, and then Bob Wilson.
Following Richard, what they say, come back is long. Bob Wilson asked me to speak about a good friend, Dr. Marge Kremer. Of course, replied that I'd be glad to do it. However, my experience in public speaking is less than equal to my attention to writing my stories. Well, my friends said that and stopped me yet, so what can that do? Elaine said she's going to be more nervous than I am. Eleanor, you holding him in the seat there? Elaine and I joined the Heart of America Carnival Class Association 10 years ago, and shortly after joining, we met Chuck and Marge. Chuck had a class wanted ad in the Holy Bulletin. He was looking for an amethyst maple leaf sugar. Do you remember that, Chuck? Well, we agreed to meet at another upcoming John Woody auction in St. Louis. And although Chuck turned down my sugar bowl, he's pretty fussy. We both enjoyed the meeting, and we've been swapping Carnival class stories ever since. Lorraine's interest in in Carnival glass started many years ago after the mother gave us a large stock and Russell's Marigold bowl. And in 1981, her interest slowly became my interest, and we became collectors. But we never really participated fully in the Carnival glass hobby until we met Chuck and Marge. And Chuck and Marge would tell us all these wonderful tales about going to Holger, and they, in effect, talked us into coming to Holger in 1987. Was our first Holger convention. And of course, we've been hooked on Holger ever since, and we just keep coming back. So thanks to Chuck and Marge, with their enthusiastic dedication, they convinced us that we were only having half the fun we should be having. So they were right. We do enjoy it. Carnival glass collectors who have had the pleasure of visiting Chuck and Marge's Indiana home were also treated to many other delights. I'm not talking about the strawberry shortcake Marge would whip up and the strawberries Chuck just picked out of his garden, or the beautiful corn that Chuck raised. But Chuck and Marge had all kinds of antiques in the home. I mean, it was really a delight to see all the different things they did collect. Their interest ran in many directions, in primitives, advertising tins. Marge had, I think, over 200 pieces of voting cups with underplates, and of course Chuck had them all arranged hung up on the wall, and really an impressive collection. And they had other things too, from egg crepes to you name it. Garden tools, a little bit of everything. And well, one would ask, well, where can you possibly keep all these collectibles under one roof? Well, the answer is a museum, of course. And that was your next surprise. Marge referred to it as the shed out back. Take them out to the shed out back, Chuck. You walked into this building out there, and it was enough to bring tears of joy to any antique collector's eyes. I mean, there was just beautiful stuff everywhere you looked. It was just a very large room, beautifully displayed with Carnival glass. It included not only Chuck's table sets, but water sets and anything else you can imagine was out there. And this was in addition to all the beautiful glass in the house. I mean, first you saw all the glass in the house, you said, boy, this is great, but then they took you out to the museum. You don't miss that, Chuck. You don't miss that. You just couldn't believe all the glass that they had. And it was really nice. Sometimes the challenge to put together a table set with matching colors takes many years of searching. And many of these table sets, and many are quite rare, have been carefully boxed up by Chuck and Marge and carried with some risk to the various glass conventions around the country for all of us to enjoy, and we thank them for that. Now, I think we all look forward to receiving our Holger Bulletin each month and enjoy the efforts by our members to share their stories and information. On the auction trail, with Chuck and Marge, helped many of us keep track of the auction action. And we'll look forward to more of those stories, Chuck. I don't have a lot to say. This is just big painting, so it just makes it look like fun. And you can't see, you gotta have big letters. And of course, we all enjoyed and benefited from your many table set articles. This is a type of information on the availability and color that only years of searching can give a person. And there isn't any book you can buy that you pick up and get this type of information. So that's really helped all of us. And I have to mention with a smile, Chuck, says Who Says Me articles, written in 1989, raised a few indignant responses. Well, those few angry responses should have been labeled, "Who, me?" Well, so today we honor Chuck and the late Marge Kremer with the John Lucille Britt Award for excellence in Carnival Glass, for the many, many contributions to the Carnival Glass family. And we are a Carnival Glass family, really an international family. Today we have people from Canada and Argentina and England. I guess there's more Australians here today, but we're an international family, and we're all joined together for the study and the preservation and the enjoyment of the glass we call Carnival. And certainly Chuck and Marge have generously shared their love of Carnival glass collecting with all of us. Chuck, we hope you will continue to enjoy collecting Carnival glass and continue to share your enthusiasm for your glass collecting stories with the rest of us. So thanks again, Chuck.
Hello everyone. It's indeed a pleasure to attend HOGA for the first time. Eunice and I have been collecting for 26 years, and she retired last June. And so it's the first opportunity we have had to be with you, and thus far we have enjoyed it very much. I hope you don't get tired of looking at me by the time the convention's over. It was an honor to be asked to say a few words about Chuck and Marge. And we have known Chuck and Marge for many years. The Hoosier Carnival Club experienced at the end of last year and the first of this year 4 deceased members. And we had known them for many, many years, and it was not easy for us and less easy for their families. And Marge was one of those members. And we tried to extend our condolences to Chuck and the family, and we miss Marge a great deal also. When we think of Marge, I'm going to talk about Marge, now I talk about Marge first tonight. When we think about Marge, we think of a very friendly but shy person. Always there with Chuck, always interested, enjoying talking with people, enjoying looking at Carnival glass. And very often we like to equate our existence with that of an animal. And if I did that with Marge, I would describe her as a quiet doe. I kind of get the, watching him at auctions and conventions, more like a raging bull. He's forging ahead and looking at everything, and he wants to be right there every minute to see what's going on. I finally decided that one reason he likes to come to the HOGA convention is, this is to us from Indiana, this is out west. And so when we think about west, we think of horses and cowboys and things of that nature. Well, when you watch Chuck at these auction previews, watch his arms, you know. Cowboys wear their spurs on their boots. Chuck has his on his elbow. He's making his way to see that glass. Alan talked a little about the write-ups in the HOGA book. Well, we always read those with great interest. Sometimes I think Chuck's got some things written between the lines that he's really not telling you. So I went through his last article, and I decided that I was reading things between the lines. Chuck often writes, prices were soft. Well, I think what Chuck's really saying is, I paid more for that item when I bought it. Then he talks about things that are bringing good prices. That means I didn't have to pay nearly that much when I bought it. Chuck talks a lot about about seeing new faces at conventions and auctions. We're always happy to see those new faces and see new people becoming interested in the hobby that we love so much. I read between the lines, Chuck. Here are a bunch of new people I have to convince to lay off of those table set pieces so I can get them. I thought maybe I was not dressed right for this front table. I didn't know I was going to be up here, but when Chuck came in, I had to look twice. He was in a suit and tie. Looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Yeah, it looks rare. I'm glad he said rare and not bare. Again, it's a pleasure to be here and to share comments about Chuck and Marge and their friendship, the work they did for Carnival Glass in general, and it's nice, Chuck, that you are being given this award today. Congratulations.
Well, it is an honor for HOGA to have an opportunity to present these awards in the name of John and Lucille Britt. And it is an honor that we have awarding this year to Chuck and the late Marge. This program award was decided several months ago prior to Marge's death. She was ill, we knew, but it was decided way before then. It wasn't something that was a spur of the moment type of decision. I had a few years ago, I had an opportunity to serve on the board of directors of a bank. And the president of the bank was one of those that if you were in the bank or you were out of the bank or you were at dinner or you were at a baseball game, he was talking bank. He was trying to make another buck and trying to figure out how to make another buck. And wherever you went with the gentleman, he was a very delightful and very intelligent person, but his mind was constantly banking. And usually that's the activity of Chuck. When you see Chuck at one of the conventions or auctions or things, he is talking and discussing and promoting Carnival Glass. And I think that's one of the strong points that we wanted to point out. Because John and Lucille and their endeavors are always promoting Carnival Glass. They're always, I'm sure they do to the other organizations, they're always bringing in, sending in to our treasury new members. They've sold books. And so Chuck follows in that line and promoting the hobby of Carnival Glass. Chuck is always promoting HOGA and the notebooks and that aspect of Carnival, which not that he's necessarily promoting HOGA, but he's promoting Carnival Glass, which is an important aspect for all of us to have our hobby promoted. If it isn't continually promoted, then we're all maybe suffering in the long run. Chuck has also been an active person in the Hoosier Club, and I'm sure been one of those instruments in maintaining that organization as a viable Carnival organization. He does attend the auctions all over the country, and he did with Marge, and he wrote on the auction trail, which I'm sure that some of us that are available and where we can go to the auctions and conventions, they're close by with a 2 or 3 hour drive. We do not realize that there are people out here somewhere that's about an 8-hour flight to get to an auction. So their communication with the Carnival Glass community is through the bulletins and publications that are put out. So it is a very important thing that we have members that will write the articles, spend the time to jot down those notes and send them in for all of those people to see. He has written articles to the bulletin. He has written several articles on table sets, and Chuck and I have sat across the table and bidding on table set pieces. I collect table sets and Chuck collects the same item. So he's whenever Chuck decides, he comes to the office and he says he wants that piece, I just say, well, I'll go home without that one. So either he can have it, because if we run it up, then the next time I'll have to pay that top high dollar for it anyway. So anyway, Chuck, we do appreciate your efforts on behalf of Carnival Glass, and it is an asset to all of us to have a person of your interest to help and report and help promote the activity and the hobby of Carnival Glass. And it is an honor for me to address this group and support of your honor. So, thank you.
At this moment, John and Lucille, will you come forward and present the award to Chuck?
One thing I can remember about Chuck is that he worked for International Arts. And I helped take him to Mr. Bond Trust and Traffic. Had all the money I spent there, that should be a problem.
You're keeping my pension check coming now, too.
That's it. An ordinance for the International Arts. And then after the parliamentary form of that, we'd like to present this for you. That's your down at the top. Appreciate it very much.
Well, I certainly want to thank everybody that came today. I know you were hungry. That might have been the reason we came in here. Maybe secondary, you came in to honor Marge. On the auction trail came about because we were asked by Eleanor one time, you go to more auctions than anybody I know. Will you write a little something about it? Marge said, no, don't do that. Nobody cares about that. Don't do that. Well, she got a little bit of a surprise. To her surprise, we had letters from Australia, England, across Canada, and the United States, and the trail became a greeting. I don't know if it did anybody any good, but it did Marge an awful lot of good. She lived longer because of that type of thing. So for her, this award is really hers. Thank you. Before I say thanks again, I want to tell you just a little bit. We thought we would have Marge here. She was getting well. She was so proud she could stand. We'd say, where are you going in April? She said, Kansas City. She had a severe stroke. She could not speak in a lot of sentences, but when I first told her about the award, she looked at me, she shook her head, I don't know. So I explained how we came out here the first time and John and Lucille got the award, and she knew that. And I said, Marge, you're going to get that this year. She looked at me in approval. Anyway, I'll tell you a little collecting story. That's to do with something the lighter side. Every physical therapist and occupational therapist and what have you have their own tricks of the trade. But every speech therapist has a little box. In that box has the same thing. It has a mug, a comb, brush, a hand mirror, a ball, rubber ball, and that kind of junk. And they haul that out and maybe identify this. Well, they start early. Marge didn't even recognize me for 3 weeks. She had the stroke the 31st of August, and it was 3 weeks before she recognized me, and then they worked with her a while. She got so to speak, we had this terrific therapist at the hospital for the first several weeks, the team. And one of these little girls hauled her box out, and she would get the brush out, and she'd say, "What's that? You know what that is, Marge?" And she'd say, "Uh-huh." She didn't know. Same answer. She said, "Well, what do you do with it?" "Uh-huh." So she put her, take Marge's, she was right-handed, and she'd take her left hand, doing good hand, she put the brush her hair, Marge would brush her hair. So anyway, she get this mirror out. And the mirror was a little bit dilapidated, the back was off. So about the 5th or 6th time she got the mirror out, Marge took it over, looked it over, she laid it down, she said, "Same old junk." I guess I better get some new equipment. Me, that was a sentence. She had not said that at all. Was that a throwback to us looking at all the nicks and chips? I kind of think of it that way. At least I think of it that way, but it came out spontaneously. One other incident like that, but down the line away, that she was kicking and screaming and hollering at the therapist that was trying to get her up one morning, get her going. She wanted to go to therapy, and the little gal, the assistant, grew shy. She was in there getting Marge dressed, and Marge storming, and Marge said, "And that's what you are." And the gal said, "Well, I guess I heard that in English." Well, tomorrow Marge doesn't swear, but she must have been swearing at her. But anyway, Marge was standing. One day she had a picture of the room. Marge said, "Stand, stand." And I said, "You want to stand?" "Yes, yes." And so she was standing at the bed, beside the bed. The nurse came out. "Let me get a camera." The last picture we had was December 10th. We got in her wheelchair then. After she took the picture, she went out the hallway. She fell on the rail. She took her good little bag in her good hand and wheeled the wheelchair over and stood up, so proud. And I thought, we're going to have her out here. Cindy said, "We'll get her there, Dad." Well, that was his 10th of December. It was downhill after that. Marge had cancer. We all knew this. She whipped the lymphoma. She had another form of cancer came along. She had blockage in her colon. She was eating the last 2 or 3 weeks. The death certificate says heart attack. That's what took her life. The second thing says stroke, or whatever the terminology. The third thing says diabetes. They did have her heart rhythm under control, but the underlying cause was cancer. But I like to tell you what my sister told me. She said, "The stroke is nature's way of masking the pain." Marge did not have any pain, other than the arm when she moved it. She had no pain from cancer. She did not suffer. She wanted it that way. So for this, thank you. This is Marge. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. The business meeting will be in just a few minutes. Thank you for coming.
You work for homework. Yeah, the artist draws pictures of church.